What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, May 25th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league. We actually only have IL placements today, which is not something you normally see. Usually when there's something excluded from this section, it's injury. So unfortunate today that section is the one that we are only getting results from. So we'll start it off with the bad news. As designated hitter, Jock Peterson was placed on the 10-day IL with a fractured hand. Looks like it's going to be a 6-week timeline for Jock Peterson's return. Alejandro Osuna was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move. He was actually selected. He is the number 7 Rangers prospect according to MLB Pipeline, and Alejandro is actually the younger brother of Roberto Osuna, so not the greatest association, but nonetheless, his brother, found success in the majors, so maybe Alejandro can as well. Osuna was the Rangers 2024 minor league player of the year. He batted .292 with 18 homers and 17 steals with a 143 WRC plus between high A and double A, and he's somewhat carried over that success this year, batting .279 with 2 homers and 9 steals to go with a 124 WRC plus between AA and AAA. For now, it looks like he's going to play left field every day unless he platoons with Ezekiel Duran. Osuna is a left-handed hitter, so it is possible that he is benched against left-handed pitchers often, but nonetheless, he'll be in left field, which will shift Wyatt Langford to center field, moving Sam Haggerty to DH to directly replace Jock Peterson, who is out with a fractured hand. Next, we have starting pitcher Michael King, who was placed on the 15-day IL with shoulder inflammation. Very unfortunate. Hopefully, just a minimum stay for Michael King. Stephen Kolek is expected to stick in the rotation. Right now, they just have 4 guys in the rotation in San Diego, but I think that's by design, as Yu Darvish is expected to return from the IL shortly. I think we're looking at just another week or so for Yu Darvish. So maybe we won't see a corresponding move in the rotation to replace King for the time being. Our last IL placement involves catcher Miguel Amaya, who was placed on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain. Very unfortunate there. Amaya had been having a pretty solid season. That catching core in Chicago has been incredible, and it somehow didn't miss a beat on Sunday as catcher Reese McGuire was recalled from the minors to replace Miguel Amaya, and he homered twice in his Cubs season debut. So pretty incredible there. They got Carson Kelly, Miguel Amaya, and Reese McGuire all having great seasons so far in Chicago. Don't know how you can really account for that. Now we'll move into our notable performances. Take a look at our hitters, starting with shortstop Jacob Wilson, who helped the A's to win versus the Phillies, going 3 for 4 with a run, a home run, an RBI, and a walk. He's up to 6 homers on the year now, and this one traveled 420 feet at 102 miles per hour. I was actually at this game. It was a blast. It was my first time going to the Rivercats Stadium. It was really weird. They only have one deck, so really not that much space there, and that whole deck was in the sun, so I really spent most of the game sort of behind home plate in the concourse level. Much windier, much nicer to watch the game there. You couldn't really see much, but nonetheless, the A's had a great comeback here thanks to Jacob Wilson. He was incredible in this one, and he's having an amazing rookie campaign, batting .350 with an .888 OPS. Wilson is walking more than he's striking out, and he's only striking out 5% of the time. These are my favorite types of players. I'm sort of biased because my home league is a points league, so there's part of me that just loves guys that never strike out, and especially ones who are able to walk more than they strike out. So I've got this affinity to Jacob Wilson ever since I saw his minor league track record. It's sort of very similar to Stephen Kwan, but Wilson is totally deserving of these strikeout rates, the super low one, thanks to contact metrics that all rank in the top 2% in baseball. The incorporation of power into Wilson's game has been an unforeseen but welcomed surprise. His newfound power was hinted at in spring training. I actually talked about it at length, but he was always an empty batting average type player in the minors, so you couldn't really bank on some random spring training performance from Jacob Wilson suggesting he'd be a different player this year. But with this power, I think Wilson needs to be rostered everywhere, as he's proving to be one of the best pure hitters in baseball. Next, we have designated hitter Ryan O'Hearn, who helped the Orioles to win in Boston, going 3 for 3 with 2 runs, a double, a home run, an RBI, a walk, and a steal to complete the combo meal. O'Hearn's up to 8 homers and 2 steals now. The homer here traveled 396 feet at 103 miles per hour. And O'Hearn was a failed product before arriving in Baltimore and reviving his career a couple years ago. His mid-career renaissance is in full effect in 2025. He's batting .329 with a .956 OPS, as a more patient approach has allowed him to reach his full potential. The past couple of seasons, O'Hearn has been around 20% better than league average according to WRC+. This year, north of 60% better. StatCast somewhat supports this new version of O'Hearn. We may see a regression towards that 120 WRC+ that he showed the past 2 years, but I'm still inclined to stream O'Hearn against righties in standard leagues and hold on to him in deeper leagues. Lastly, we have third baseman Manny Machado, who helped the Padres to win in Atlanta, going 2 for 4 with 2 runs, a double, a home run, and an RBI. He's up to 5 homers on the year now, and this one traveled 352 feet at 101 miles per hour. Machado is one of the most consistent players in baseball, even though it seems like his performances fluctuate wildly. He's still been able to maintain a Hall of Fame pace throughout his career and into 2025. And he actually seems to be underperforming what has already been a great season. He's batting .321 with an .877 OPS, but he's got just 5 homers, so the power isn't really there. A career high walk to strikeout ratio for Machado has him sporting the highest batting average of his career, as I mentioned, at .321. But so far, the consequence has been that aforementioned decrease in power production. However, an 11% barrel rate and a career high 54% hard hit rate suggest it's unwarranted, the power outage for Machado. StatCast expected metrics paint Machado as one of the best hitters in baseball. I don't know if that's totally warranted, but nonetheless, I think you have no reason to have any doubts about Machado's ability to perform at the plate throughout the rest of this season. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Spencer Schwellenbach, who did all he could, but the Braves lost to the Padres. He tossed 7 innings, allowing 7 hits and 2 earned runs while walking nobody and striking out 11. He induced 20 whiffs with 37% CSW across 101 pitches. Schwellenbach hasn't quite hit his swing this year. He's alternated poor performances with good ones. And it's been a while since we've seen him tease his ace potential like he did on Sunday, as his four-seamer cooked in the zone in this one, inducing 11 whiffs and 44% CSW at an 85% strike rate, while his cutters and sinkers stole strikes all day. That cutter was incredible. It returned 90% strikes. He also incorporated a curveball and a splitter, which combined for 4 whiffs. But this outing would have been perfect if not for Schwellenbach's slider, which went for just 18% CSW and allowed a pair of homers, solo homers, to account for the only runs on his ledger. We usually don't expect four-seamer dominance from Schwellenbach. He's not a guy with a great four-seamer. It's got good velocity, but the shape isn't great. What he does have is a good foundation that allows that pitch to find success if all his other pitches are working together. And honestly, we've never really seen this level of a feel for the cutter at 90% strikes is not something you're really going to expect to see again. So I think that's something we need to keep an eye on. Is Schwellenbach going to carry this cutter feel over into his next start? Because if he is, then he'll be well on his way to an ace is going to ace tag. Schwellenbach gets the Red Sox next, and I think we got to start him there. I don't see any reason. I can't think of a lineup right now that I wouldn't be starting Schwellenbach against, despite how underwhelming his season has been thus far. Next, we have Ryan Pepiot, who helped the Rays to win versus the Blue Jays, tossing 7 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits and 1 walk while striking out 5. He induced 7 whiffs with 22% CSW across 91 pitches. Pepiot has the stuff to be a frontline starter, but he doesn't have the secondary command to achieve it. Nothing changed here, and his fastball really wasn't exceptional, with just 4 out of 52 whiffs and 19% CSW. His slider performed better than his changeup with a pair of whiffs and 31% CSW, but it was hit hard, really hard, and Pepiot got away with once again having no control of his secondaries. This was the start of success on balls in play, and that's not something we can latch onto to suggest future success for Pepiot. Even still, I'm not giving up on Pepiot, even with the Astros in Houston next. His stuff is just too good, and I have too much faith in the Rays helping him figure that out. Lastly, we've got Edward Cabrera, who helped the Marlins to a win in LA against the Angels, tossing 5 2/3 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits and 2 walks while punching out 10. He induced 18 whiffs with 36% CSW across 87 pitches. And Cabrera's last start hinted at a breakout, and this start was the real breakout. He reintroduced his four-seamer after couching it last time in favor of his sinker, and it's not really ideal given the four-seamer's whiff-first approach compared to the sinker's intended effect of returning strikes, which is something that Cabrera has always struggled with. He's not a great command or control pitcher, but the four-seamer induced 3 whiffs for 22% CSW in this one, while the sinker did its job, returning 78% strikes for 33% CSW. But it was his breakers that were actually the star of the show in this one, as his changeup feel continues to lag behind the rest of his arsenal. Cabrera's curveball induced 7 whiffs for 45% CSW, while his slider induced 6 whiffs for 82% CSW. He threw just 11 sliders, more than 50% of those induced a whiff. Cabrera's stuff is so good that if all he really needs is 2 consistent strike pitches and one of his secondaries working, for him to be able to take down any offense on any given night. And Cabrera gets the Giants next, and that's a clear auto start in my books. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Reed Garrett recorded his first save of the season with a scoreless ninth. This makes sense. Edwin Diaz had pitched on back-to-back days, so they needed somebody to take over for him as he rested. Next, Robert Suarez recorded his National League leading 17th save. He's also tied for the MLB lead with Andres Munoz with 17 saves after his perfect ninth on Sunday. Trevor McGill recorded his 9th save with a scoreless 9th. Luke Weaver worked around a solo shot to record his 8th save. Ronnie Henriquez surprisingly recorded his first save with a perfect 9th. It looks like he might be getting a shot at the closer role, which is crazy because I sort of mentioned him out of the blue on In the Pen in the offseason as a dark horse candidate for the closer role in Miami, and it was really only founded in me having played with him on MLB The Show in a franchise, and like his stuff isn't even indicative of what he's actually throwing, but nonetheless, I had a premonition, and here we go. Ronnie Henriquez, new Marlins closer. Next, we have Daniel Palencia, who recorded his 2nd save with a scoreless 9th. Ryan Walker worked around a run to record his 10th save. Robert Garcia worked around a run to record his 2nd save, and that's somewhat interesting as Luke Jackson pitched earlier in that game, and it looks like he's losing his grasp of the closer role. Next, Phil Maton pitched a scoreless 9th to record his 2nd save. Ryan Helsley had pitched on back-to-back days, and so Maton got a chance to fill in on Sunday. And lastly, Mason Miller recorded his 12th save with a scoreless 9th. In terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Yohan Duran allowed the zombie runner to score in the 10th, and that forced him to take his first loss. And then Carlos Estevez earned his 2nd win in that one after recording 4 outs across the 8th and the 9th. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now I'll look forward to Monday, May 26th, the day in which we'll have just 12 games on the slate. My matchup of the day is Jacob deGrom versus Kevin Gausman. Both guys are incredible. Jacob deGrom is, must see TV every single time on the mound. And Gausman can be like that if he's got more than just his splitter working. We haven't seen the splitter working every single start. So hopefully he's got it working. We can see a really dominant pitching matchup. Nonetheless, it's must see TV when Jacob deGrom takes the mound. In terms of probable starters, we've got 6 guys in our auto starts tier, including deGrom and Gausman, including only deGrom. In our probably starts tier, that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Ryan Weathers, as he helped the Marlins to win as he'll be taking on the Padres in San Diego. Ryan Weathers has displayed increased fastball velocity across his first 2 starts this year, where he was able to take down the Cubs. So I have no problem starting him in a pitcher's ballpark in San Diego against his former team too, if I'm not mistaken. I'd also keep an eye out for Michael Lorenzen as he takes on his former ball club in the Reds. They'll be outside of Great American Ballpark. It's a great team to stream against, and Lorenzen is somebody who can handle weak offenses. He is a Toby though, so the ceiling is pretty low on that stream. In terms of hitter suggestions, I go for Yankees and Angels hitters in Angel Stadium. The Yankees have yet to determine their starter, and the Angels will go with Jack Kochanowicz, so I don't see why you wouldn't target this one. Kochanowicz hasn't been strong, and we're not really sure what we're going to see from the Yankees. So maybe you can take advantage of this one. I'd also look at Cubs hitters versus Carson Palmquist of the Rockies. He's a southpaw, and he's got an 11.88 ERA on the season. This one is outside of Coors, but Palmquist has really not been great this season. So target some right-handed hitting Cubs hitters. Lastly, I'd look at Cardinals hitters versus Charlie Morton and his 7.68 ERA. He's really struggled this year. I'd target Cardinals hitters to hopefully take advantage of that. And now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Yohan Duran has pitched on back-to-back days, so I'd expect Griffin Jacks to get a save opportunity for the Twins. Robert Garcia looks to be taking over the closer role for the Rangers, so maybe take a shot there. And lastly, Ronnie Henriquez, who may be the Marlins closer after just one day, but he's pitched on back-to-back days, so maybe we see Calvin Fauché or Jesus Tinoco or Anthony Bender, anybody get a save for the Marlins on Monday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.